What are the cycles fathers pass down that sons are left to heal? What if being a man wasn't about holding it all together, but learning how to let go? This is a space where men speak truth and find the power to heal and transform. I'm Mike Della Rocha. Welcome to Sacred Lessons. Pictures can wound, but they can also heal. In our homes and in our neighborhoods, images are medicine, proof that we exist, that we matter, that we will always survive despite systemic attempts to erase us. Welcome to Sacred Lessons. I'm Mike Della Rocha. Today I'm honored to sit with an icon, Estevan Oriol, a photographer and director whose camera has captured the magic of the streets. I say magic because Estevan is more than just a photographer. He's a magician, a storyteller who's not only worked with some of the greatest, most influential celebrities in the world, but captured the beauty amidst the struggle of those often forgotten and outcasted by society. There's not enough words, Estevan, to say thank you for not just being on this podcast, bro, but for what you've done for our culture. You know this. I'm the only man in my family on my mom's side never served time in a cage. And society views me, primos, and everyone else as an outcast or not worthy to be valued. And you have changed that entire narrative. And so first and foremost, I want to say thank you. It's I don't say the word icon loosely.
Yeah.
But you're an icon, bro.
Thank you.
And you've been consistent. So, you know, this podcast is all about, men's wellness and healing. And as myself as a Chicano or Latino man, we don't oftentimes talk about that. Definitely not publicly. And I've been on this journey. And one of the things that really stood out to me, bro, and just looking at your journey is, who's the person that gave you your camera?
My pops. My dad gave it to me. And he gave me about a maybe 2-3 minute photography lesson, and then I was on my way. But that was all he knew. That was what he had heard. And so he didn't really describe what he had learned since that point. He just told me what they told him and sent me on my way, basically. But the what he said, it's as simple as there's 2 needles in the camera, and you turn one of the knobs on the top and then one on the lens, and one controls how fast the shutter clicks, and one controls the depth of field in the lens. So that's more than what he told me. He just said, make the turn these 2 knobs. When the 2 needles meet in the middle, you're ready to go. And he had saw something that he thought was cool that I was doing that I didn't see. And because, I was caught up in the moment. And one of them was building a lowrider. I had my lowrider before I ever had the camera. And I bought the car like in 89, started fixing it up in 91. By 94, it was finished. And then in 92, I got a job with the House of Pain. My homie Muggs from Cypress Hill hooked me up with Everlast, which I already knew him, but I didn't know, he was working on an album and they were going to go on tour. So Muggs and me, Everlast, went to dinner, and they said, you want to tour manage House of Pain? And at that time they go, we'll cover all the expenses, but you won't get paid until it kicks off, because right now we're not known. So I told my boss that I used to work doors at clubs, and I worked construction during the day. So I asked both of those bosses, like, hey, I have this opportunity. What do you think? They go for it, take the summer off and go do your thing. And that summer turned into 13 years of touring around the world. I went to 44 countries. Wow. with the bands. Up to now, I've been to 56. And it all started, with that one summer. And my pops gave me the camera.
And your pops, though, was a well-respected photographer, correct?
Yeah, he was, back then it was, he was known like on like the community activist or community organizer level, but not as like a more as an artist, all around artist, because he was photographing a lot of graffiti here in LA in the late 80s, early 90s. He did a show down in downtown on Olvera Street at this place called the Pico House. His wife was a curator of that space, and they did a couple shows there. One was Burning Desire, which was a graffiti artist show, and then there was one called the Tribute to Siqueiros, and then after that, the city wanted the building back, and because my dad had brought a lot of shine to it, and his wife, and made it this cool, great event space and gallery and community kind of center, and the city saw that, and they're like, wanted to put their fangs into it, and nothing's happened since. And that was about 30 years ago.
Wow.
It's just been empty, run down, and kind of back to what they found, how they found it. When they first found it, it was full of rats, and homeless people were living in there and stuff. So they cleaned it up, made it a cool gallery, and took off from there. And that was being around all that, and then him giving me my camera. I was like, okay, I'll try it. Wasn't that cool thing? It's for me. It wasn't cool to carry a big thing on my chest. You see back then, but I started bringing it out here and there with different people, and mostly my friends and my car club in the band. And to build my confidence, because at first I was like, I'd hide it. I was like, I'd be like this, and I'd see something cool, I'd be like, hey, is it cool if I get a picture real quick? Like, yeah, what, no big deal. So I take this big thing out, doing all this. And then I got comfortable with it and started just clicking away, and people were noticing the photos and telling me, hey, you got something different, And I went to this one photo lab that my dad used to go to. It was where they did all like the pros, like Helmut Newton and a couple other big guys in the city. And I asked a lady there if she could do my film for me. And then she was seeing what I was shooting on tour and in the lowriding scene. And she was like, hey, I think you got something good here. Can I put some of your photos up and in the lobby of the photo lab? And I was, yeah, sure. And she goes, you can keep them, or you can keep the money if we sell them. It was 11 photos, and she sold 8 of them. And in that space, they were used to selling known photographers' work, which had known subject matter.
Right.
Mine was nobody known. It was all like homies from the streets or people lowriding or hip hop stuff. Ended up selling 8 out of 11. 3 of them, a friend of mine, Matt, he works at Meta now. Not works at, but he's, one of the guys there. And, 30 years later, I'm working with them with the Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a full circle moment,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool. That's pretty much been it.
Was it your inclination just to capture your friends and the culture, or were you intentional, like, I don't see anything out there, so I want to document, or was it a mix of all that, or what was that?
No, I never had an intention or an agenda.
Yeah.
It was more like I would shoot. I missed a lot of stuff because I was late, I was lagging on pulling out the camera, I'd see some go like, man, that'd be a badass picture. That'd be such a cool picture. If I pulled my camera out, I wonder if I'd get that picture. Man, that's a good picture. And then I'd go to grab my camera, and the thing that I saw would move. So, and I didn't want to bring it back and recreate it. Like if somebody was doing something with a car, I didn't want to be like, hey, can you come back and pretend like you're doing something on the car again or whatever?
Right.
So I missed a lot. And but the ones that I did catch, I think I caught enough to do what it did, you know. So what you see now is like probably about a fourth of what I wanted to catch, but I still got a lot. Because once I started getting the hang of it and I started knowing people what they liked, I just went all out. You know?
Went all out. You know, they always say that because you're a storyteller, you're a photographer, but you're also a filmmaker, and you have a unique perspective. Because from the moment we met, I always knew, like, Estevan ain't gonna take any shit. He's gonna call it like it is, but also, and again, you can correct me, but when you're behind that lens, I feel like you see people's souls. Yeah. But also, like, you're seeing things because people don't know when the camera's off or on, or when you're taking a photo or not. And that's when you can see people's true essence and character come out. Yeah. And tell me, is that your experience, or?
I pretty much go by if somebody has an interesting look, like if you can see something different, and like if you can see part of their story in their face, or like a place, a location, or something that the person is doing, you know. But there has to be something that catches my eye. Yeah. And you know, sometimes you do feel like you see a little bit deeper, you know, than other shoots. You know, sometimes if you know who or where you're shooting, you kind of know, like, oh, this person's, like, you know, he's heavy, you know, or she's, you know, heavy in the community or something. Like when we went down to Mexico, you know, there's a lady in Tepito, and I've been seeing her there for like 30 years. She's right there at the altar of Santa Muerta. And you can just see in her face, and you see like the place, you know, like there's a deep story there. I mean, she's there every day, and like I said, I saw her there 30 years ago. I went to film a video for Cypress Hill. It's called No Entiendes la Onda, Kill a Man in Spanish. And somebody asked me to go get them some ingredients that they needed. So I went. I didn't know where I was going. They go, yeah, go to this place. It's a mercado. And, you know, they'll have what you need in there. So I'm going in there with this list. You know, I don't speak Spanish very good. And, you know, everybody's looking at me anyways. I don't look like I'm from there. I didn't know why, you know. But, you know, when you go in there, there's a lot of crazy stuff in there, you know. It's a trippy place. And I got what I needed on the list and went back, and they were like, hey, so what do you think? You know, we're about shooting. I was like, man, I found a cool place. We should go down there. And little did we know, you know, we're in the heart of the hood, you know. And it's like, if you don't know, or if you do know, it's a heavy place to be. But, you know, we got welcome there, shot some scenes of the video there, and to me, this day is one of my coolest experiences. And every time I go back over that way, I try to, you know, stop by, say hi to the lady, see if she's there. She's, you know, really cool. And, you know, I try to take a portrait of her, you know, each time. I've seen her go from like jet black, slick back hair, and now she has this cool, like, gray strip going down the middle.
Wow. You know, that one photo that you took when we were there, the thing I appreciate about your photos is you capture, and maybe this is me, bro, but the essence, like you capture the exterior, the shell. So you could see some like gangster tatted everywhere, but if you capture the look in his eyes, and the look in the eyes is oftentimes that tenderness that the shell is blocking. And not everybody can do that. Number one, not everyone can do that. Number two, not everyone's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And you've gotten permission because you come from the environments that you're shooting.
Yeah. And I don't make them look bad, you know?
Yeah, no.
Like, my idea is to make them look the best anyway, no matter who I shoot.
Right.
Like, I never let somebody, like, put their, like, chin into their chest so they look all, you know, way out, you know? I always try to make everybody, you know, look the best they can, have the, you know, nice jawline and, you know, just looking as cool and best physically or whatever.
Right.
You know, because that's a thing they're most critical of is like, oh, you made me look fat or you made me look this or ugly or whatever. So that's the first thing on my mind is I need to make this person look the best so that they feel the best when they see the photo. And, you know, like you said, sometimes I get those shots that they look deeper into a person than just a, you know, a one-click moment type of thing. But it's a trip that what a photo is, you know? It's like one fraction of a second that you're getting of somebody's expression, where they're sitting, and the feeling they have in their head at that time. And it's forever. And it's crazy how you freeze that like split second of time and what you get, you know. Now it's different, you know. There's digital cameras and you could just hold your finger on the button and just shoot 1,000 shots in seconds, you know. But that's not me, you know. Even with my digital camera, I try and minimize the times I push the button. More about like skill than and quantity over quality, you know, quality over quantity.
Right.
So I'm not just shooting just to shoot and then hopefully I get one good one out of there. It's like I won't push a button unless I feel it.
Right. And let me ask you, since this podcast is centered on healing, when you take a photo of like this, you know, I'm assuming you were thinking of a couple of people when you gave that example with the chin and looking like really good. Is that a healing moment when you actually show that photo to that person who you shot?
Yeah, if you make somebody look good and if you make somebody look good, they feel good. And who knows what they're going through that day or whatever. And they're like, oh, cool, man. This, you know, this is cool. You know, I like that. And it makes them feel good. And I did that for that person that day. You know, on the healing aspect of it, there's a lot of photos that I've taken of people that have passed. And the photos I had, not only were they the cooler, you know, better photos that people have had of their loved ones that pass, but they were the only ones. You know, sometimes they didn't take a picture with their mom before or something like that, and the mom has that photo of her and her son, you know, that it means a lot more than just any old picture. So maybe 10 of my photos have been used in the frame that goes next to a casket, which is pretty like heavy for me, you know. I'm like, dang, you know, like the person's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. In the 1 second that I took a photo of them, might have only been one, that's the photo that meant the most to them about that person. And that's kind of a heavy thing when you go into a funeral and you bring the frame to the family and they put it right there in the easel right next to their loved one who passed. It's like, that's a deep feeling.
And I think the reason why you're so beloved, because most photographers wouldn't take that shot because they wouldn't see the value in the shot. And you do. You've been since day one. And that is probably like the greatest gift that family has ever gotten because, again, they might not even have a photo for the casket, for example.
I just, you know, memories are great, you know. they're like such a big part of your life. Like, I don't know how many times a day or a week that we talk about people that have passed in our everyday life.
Yeah.
And today one of my like best friend's dads died, and that triggered off my mom dying, and then it makes me think about my pops. He's 83 years old now, so I'm like, that his pops was in his 70s. So there's, all automatically it just goes memories. And then you think about when times were driving here, I'm driving my 61 Impala, reminded me of driving in my other car in the 90s, listening to 90s music, like all that stuff is all based on memories. And that's how I'm going through most of the day. A lot of memories, a lot of what's happening now, and not so much what's happening in the future because I'm not there yet.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So many of these, how do I frame this? So many of these interviews I've done, the awakening is literally what you just said, the near-death experience, the loss of a parent, the loss of a child, the holding of a grandmother or grandfather who's dying, and then realizing like, oh snap, like this life isn't that long.
Yeah.
So what do we do? And Luis Rodriguez, I think you know Luis.
Yeah.
He's mentored me for almost 30 years, and he was here yesterday, and he was saying that our gifts and talents, you have to actually go through the grief. You got to go through the wound.
Yeah.
And right next to the wound is actually where your gift is. And a lot of folks have talked about loved ones dying on the podcast. I said, once they died, I got a better perspective, obviously. And it shifted their perspective. It shifted the way they live their life. And this is from 30-year-old to 40-year-old, 50, blah, blah, blah. And so, a lot of your photography is straddling all those worlds.
Yeah.
That's an intentional or just capturing the moments.
I mean, I'm around that every day,
Yeah.
So I think that seeing a lot of my friends pass away and like being there during some of them definitely changed my life, not just because I lost my friend. It's like, for me, a lot of the things that I do, the motivation I do is I'm doing this because these guys can't no more. Like, we were doing it together and then they died. And I'm like, oh man, now it's just like me, me and whoever is still going. We got to go, harder for, like it kind of like motivates you in a weird way to go harder for the ones that aren't here no more and the ones that can't do it. And it's when my mom passed away, it was probably the most devastating and like hurtful pain I ever had, physically or mentally. But the crazy part about that was the next day I had a book signing, and I told my friend who was letting me use the basically went to put up like 40 photos, took a bunch of boxes of books there, and then I called in to cancel it. And I was like, hey man, I gotta cancel tomorrow. He was all, what happened? I go, my mom died. And he's all, oh no. He's all, are you sure? You sure you want to cancel it? And I'm thinking in my head like, well, who else would think about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and work tomorrow,
Right.
But then I was thinking like, he was asking me, are you sure you want to do that for some type of reason? So it made me think about it. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I don't want to cancel. I'll be there, and I went, and that was probably the best thing that I ever did, because that made me not think about it. And I was, thankfully there was over 100 people there in line. and they all wanted me to sign the book. So it was like, I'd had no time to think of none of that stuff, you know?
Mm.
And, you know, I would think of it, but I just had to like push through it, you know, just be like, yeah, okay, what are you going to do? You know, 100-something people here waiting for you to sign your book. You going to fall apart right now? And nope. Okay. You know, sign another one. Like I'm telling myself this in my head. And got through the line. I was like, went to tell my homie, you know, his name's Casey. He goes by Eclipse. He's owner of Seventh Letter and Known Gallery and head of AWR and MSK. And I go, hey, Casey, you know, that was good. Thank you, homie, for, you know, letting me do that. I was able to, you know, use this to keep my mind off of this right now. And, yeah, and he just handed me the stack of the cash. Like, usually galleries want to take their cut. And he's all, here, homie, this is all you. And he gave me everything from what I sold. And I was like, damn, you know, like, this is cool. Like, some people care, you know? And yeah, that was like a big turning point for me for that event, you know, that had happened. But
when did you, it's ongoing, obviously. For me, it's been 10 years since I lost my dad, but did you give yourself the grace and the time to process your mom's passing?
Not really. I don't think I ever stopped. I think if you stop, you could maybe go into like a darker place. But if you keep going, keep it moving, you stay on, you know, stay on your track, it helps you get through it. You know, you keep your life going. Like when all the fires happen and first, like there's strikes were happening, you can't work. Nobody's working. Right. Then the fires happen, nobody's working. Now there's ice in the streets, and nobody's going to work. So like there's all these events happening, there's no work. And it's like, and then they're talking about the economy, like, well, how's this economy supposed to happen if nobody's working?
Right.
And how are you supposed to feel good and go through your life if you can't work?
Right.
You know, like the bills don't stop coming, but the work does, like, you know?
Right.
And it's not our control, you know, like
right.
How many thousands of houses burned down and the city just shut down? Like, hey, nobody's going to work because we're grieving for the losses of houses and people and pets and everything. And it's like, you know, like for me, it was like I went right to work, and that's what kept me going, you know. And I, you know, it doesn't work for everybody, but for me it did.
Right.
And
do you have another outlet, Estevan? Like,
no,
just work. Nothing. Well, work is your passion, obviously.
Yeah, if I go, yeah, my passion is I do what I love,
right,
and I get paid for it. I do work, but 90% of the time I'm not getting paid, but I still do the same thing. So to me and everybody else, it's like I'm working, but the checks, you know, aren't coming like that.
Right.
So yeah, I would say just, you know, dive into something that you love to do. And for me, that's what it was.
Would you consider your work or your passion, the photography, like your form of like release and therapy?
Yeah, for sure. Any type of creating and stuff like that. Even if I'm, you know, in the motion of getting to the point where I'm shooting.
Yeah.
All the process of winding it down after the day, you know, because sometimes a shoot could be like a week of preparation or more, and then like a week of getting everything together for the job you did.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm only shooting one day for a couple hours, but all that whole process is is cool for me.
Yeah. Let me ask, we always end the segment with the sacred five, but I want to ask one more question. What do you tell men that are hurting right now?
I tell them, everything's going to be okay on the other side, just push through it. And, you got to stay strong, because if you let all that stuff, take over you, then it's going to get worse.
Right.
And, I come from the old school,
Yeah.
There was no, it was like, suck it up or stay strong or, man up, that kind of stuff. So, that's what I knew. That's how I grew up. That's how the men around me were. And, I take that and then what I know and I combine them together, and that's what helps me get through everything.
Stay centered.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Because, you could get down and out real bad, and, you see it out on the streets all the time. What happens if you let that take over you?
Right.
You could end up in an RV or in a tent or in a hospital or dead, strung out, spun out. So I try to, hold my ground in my head so that I don't ever let it get to that, anywhere near that.
Right.
So I've had family members and friends do all that, all the way from, getting spun out on drugs or being homeless to killing themselves. So I learn a lot, watching other people and seeing what they go through and how they navigate through life.
So I was going to say the influence of your father, who's the person that gave you your first camera, obviously saw something in you. We've both lost a parent, and we both still have one parent alive. Like you said, your father's in his 80s already. Have you shared everything that you wanted to with them, or is there anything left unsaid?
No, yeah, of course. My goal is to put out a book or some books of his works and to do a documentary on him. And, he has a little pushback, for it. But I'm trying to tell him, like, what you use your camera for was to tell a story that you wanted to be told, and you use that as a tool to tell another story, to do something else, to achieve what you wanted to achieve before you started doing that. So when he asked me, like, hey, well, what do you want to do this for? Because I want to, I want to tell my dad's story. I think you have a cool story, and people know you, but they don't know certain things about you. And I want them to know you, I want them to see the work you did. I want them to know the community work you did. I want them to know the struggles you went through, with your parents and everything. And I think it's a cool thing to do. Now, you're 83, like, let's knock it out. And, like, we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which for me, I'm like, what are we talking about? What I did LA Originals, I did Cypress Hill documentaries, like, and I didn't do no weird shit where I was making them look bad or scandalous or nothing. So it's like, it's all about the story, and let's get it going. So we're in the talking phase, then we're going to write something out, then we're going to start shooting it. But
has that brought you closer together?
Yeah, but he's an old school guy, so he's a little bit, set in his ways. And for me, I would have done it 6 months ago or a year ago, probably, when I started talking about it already. I would have been on it, But have to respect his time and all that stuff when he wants to do it. So that's what I'm waiting for. But every time I'm with him, I would say in the past 2 years, I ask him just little stories. Like he'll mention something or something like that, and then I'll ask him about those, whatever it was, and then he shows me pictures and he tells me this long, detailed story, and every time I'm blown away. I'm like, man, that's crazy. That's so cool. I want to do this thing, and it, I just want to do it. It's so I don't know what's so hard about it, but I just keep learning more and more about him. But then, like I'm not saying my dad's gonna pass away anytime soon, but he's 83. Clint Eastwood's like 96. He's still talking shit. He's still directing movies. Still looks good. My pops lives downtown, and he runs up the the parts of downtown that are hilly. He runs up those backwards. He goes to the YMCA 3 times a week. Hits the heavy bags. He works out. Like he's my idol. Like who I want to. My health. I want to be like him at his age. But they grew up in a different era where like the food that they were eating was a little bit better. I grew up in the era where they were trying to poison us and kill us, Let's make everybody as fat as they could be, as unhealthy as they could be, the most diseases that they could have. Let's make the most money off of them that we can. And they had this like cool little plan. And now that I'm older and I've gotten sick and I've gone through health shit, it makes me sick, it pisses me off. Like they have a whole aisle full of sodas on both sides, and that's just straight poison. They have a whole aisle full of chips and candy and baking stuff, and like people are like, oh, my sweet tooth or whatever. I'm like, that sweet tooth gotta go, That's gonna be your killer.
Well, I'm gonna send you one of the people we're interviewing, this filmmaker. His name is Tad Nakamura. His father, similar to your father, his father's known as the godfather of Asian American cinema. He was an activist. His father was in the Japanese internment camp. And Tad, we went to school together, and no one had ever done a documentary on his dad. And similar, like I remember a few years ago having the same conversation with Tad, and he's like, bro, I want to do a film on my dad.
Yeah.
And I want to memorialize his legacy and what he gave to this world. In the process of filming the doc, his dad gets Parkinson's, and his dad was in his 80s. The whole film then, it wasn't a year. It ended up being 3 to 4 year. He ended up calling it third act.
Yeah.
Because it was about his father, him, and his son.
Yeah.
But in the process of making the doc.
Tad's son?
Tad's son.
Okay.
3 generations.
Yeah.
And it actually became a documentary about Tad.
Yeah.
Because, we don't talk about love.
Yeah.
This was the love letter to his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad understanding his body decaying. He saw the other side.
Yeah.
He was saying things on camera because that was a safety net. He was always behind the camera, but he knew he was giving his son the torch, but he was saying things he had never said to Tad. And Tad sent me an early, before it was final. I sent him my book before it was out. He sent me the film, and we were both crying simultaneously because we both wrote love letters to our dad.
Yeah.
We didn't name it that at the time.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's like, I want to do this for my dad, And, he's just an older guy, So
Yeah.
he's like kind of hard-headed.
Yeah.
The older guys are.
Yeah.
But it's that, it's all that. It's just like, I want to do, like every time last time we talked was a couple of days ago, and we were there for 4 hours. Felt like 45 minutes or an hour. 4 hours I wrote by hand. I wrote down like 6 pages of notes so that when we go to write out the structure of how we want the doc to go, before we start filming, it's, it'll be tightened up in there. But every time I've been talking to him for the past couple of years, it's been like that. And it's so cool, I didn't get to do that with my mom, like she was in her 70s at that time. Yeah, she would be 86 now, I think. And yeah, it's like you realize that, like, hey, the clock's ticking, even with my kids, I want to be like that too, like I don't want to wait till I'm old to tell them stories. Like, I'm telling them it now, I'm telling them everything that I want them to know now. And I don't think they get it or they're listening. They just wait for the noise to stop so they can go on and keep doing what they're doing for the day. But at least I'm saying it, and if something were to happen, they would have that memory, like, well, he did say this that one time we were doing this, or, I think about that now. Like, every time I go to get in a car or on my motorcycle, I call certain people and just be like, hey, man, I just want to call and say what's up, I'm gonna get on my bike, or I'll call you later, And, I just never want to have like somebody have a weird feeling, later on if something were ever to happen or whatever. I always like try to work things out with people that are worth it. I don't want to have no distance with somebody that I care about or love or want to, be tight with. The rest of them, keep it moving. Can
I ask you the ones you don't want to get away to know that they mean something to you, your dad or some of your friends? Yeah. Do you all ever say I love you to each other?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the difference between me, taking the old thing with the new thing, is I tell my homies I love them all the time. I love you, bro, or I love you, homie, It's like, why wouldn't you? You do, right? Like, supposedly I'm down for you, homie, like, do whatever, like, then, what's the problem with saying it?
Yeah.
Then,
With your dad, my dad loved me and my brother more than life.
Yeah.
But my grandfather, my abuelo, never said those words to him, so I never heard him growing up. I would say it and he didn't know how to respond.
Yeah.
Do you tell your dad I love you, and does he respond?
Oh yeah, like sometimes I go out of my way to so that if he doesn't say it, or sometimes he doesn't say it every time,
Yeah.
But if you do, you do, You just tell them, because you can't when they're gone.
Right.
You can go to their gravesite all day long and tell them how much you love them, but is somebody there? Is they hear you up there? Are they really watching down over you? Who knows? I don't know anybody that's been up there.
Right.
They came back down and said, yeah, man, I was watching you, making sure everything was cool with you, or I saw you crying at my gravesite. Like, that's never happened to me yet, so I don't know if it does.
Right.
So the people are here. Yeah. All right, homie. See you later. I love you, bro. Get home safe. Whatever. It's nothing. It's three more words that you have no problem saying all kinds of other words with them. Right. Why can't you tell your friends or your family you love them? You know?
Well, thank you for saying that, though.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I just wanted to say, like, a lot of the men that we know, it's painful for them to say those words. So when you and I are able to say I love you, that gives them permission to respond back or to consider saying it.
Yeah. Or they could feel bad if they didn't say it.
Exactly.
But that's on them.
It's on them. Well, I'm going to ask you, we call it the Sacred Five. It's 5 questions you answer in one word or sentence. And it's kind of like, what's Estevan Oriol's healing practices for self that maybe others could consider? Obviously, like you said, what works for you may not work for someone else, but it may work for a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just our way to practical takeaways for the audience. So first question, name 3 things that make you feel safe, connected, and whole.
Safe, connected, and whole.
Mm-hmm.
I would say family, friends, and work.
Yeah.
I can't feel safe if I'm not working or don't have no money, but the bills are flying in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, those 3.
Cool. What song, book, or prayer brings you back to yourself?
There's so many songs,
Yeah.
like from so many genres of music. I can't even.
What one immediately came to your mind when I first asked you? You gotta say it now because laughing.
Yeah, is Comfortably Numb.
Oh yeah,
from
Pink
Floyd.
Uh-huh.
Because I was listening to the other day on my bike, and like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and then some of the hip hop, but then there's the oldies.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to, like, I go from listening to Comfortably Numb to like a hip hop song to like Ramp, Daylight, to just
all of it.
It goes all over the place. Desmadre, like I gotta throw in some of that.
Yeah, I have to.
That type of stuff in there. Yeah, so it'd be hard for me to say.
Well, you said that was good.
Yeah.
What's one daily ritual or practice that grounds you?
Sauna and the ice bath every morning. I do it 20 minutes in the sauna, 3 minutes in the ice. I do that 3 repetitions of that.
Oh, wow.
Then I feel like I'm ready to go take the world head on.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's one small action that folks can take that are on their healing path?
One thing they could do to heal.
Or consider on their healing.
Yeah, I would just say to stay positive. Think like don't get into that hole. I never done it, but I heard about this thing called the K-hole. From people doing ketamine, and I just imagine from the way they describe it, it's like quicksand kind of. And if you go into that negative space in your head,
it's like quicksand.
Yeah, it's like quicksand, and just got to keep your energy up and stay positive and peaceful. Like, a big thing for me is peace and positive energy.
Last one, Estevan. Share a one-line blessing or quote that inspires you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or words that you live by.
I think a lot about it's the Zapata, die on your feet or go on living on your knees, which is kind of like, fight for something or fall for everything.
Right.
I think about that a lot in my head, because I always feel like there's, somebody's coming at you, trying to get something. And, you got to stand up for yourself, for your people, for your family. You always, it feels like there's something always trying to push into you, so you got to stand up for it,
Yeah.
like kind of like what's going on in the city now,
Yeah.
With all the ice and stuff like that. Like, you got to stand up for our city, for our people, or what good are we,
Right.
You're just going to be like, oh, poor them, or as long as it ain't happened to me, like that's, I hear people say that, I'm like, man, what's wrong with you? Like, my grandma came here from Mexico. My other grandma came here from Sicily. Like, they came here with nothing, and they made it like, look what we're doing.
Exactly.
They made it cool for us. We'd be still over there. Not saying that it's, anything bad about being over there, but right now we're in the land of opportunity. It's where dreams come true. And just seeing what goes on, like you can't say it's, not true or fake news or nothing like that. People are recording with their phone live. Like there's nothing fake about it. It's 1,000% real, and it's ugly. Scandalous. Like I never thought of not living in LA, but seeing all that, I'm like, man, I wonder what it'd be like to live somewhere where it's like no drama like that, like you don't have to worry about stuff, or you can just be living like a normal life, like before all that, like we were cool. I thought everything was pretty, aside from the fires and the this and that, those traumatic things that happened to us, we all came together during the fires. Like I was going to Pasadena doing the fire brigade, cleaning up debris. Well, first we were doing the coffee in the mornings for the firemen. Go right after that to do the fire brigade, clean up the debris and stuff from the street. I had a gallery that we opened up, a warehouse, turned it into a relief center for people that lost everything. We had donations coming, driving them to people, taking them to, shelters. Then at night, we'd go get food and feed the firemen. And like, we came together as a city and helped everybody. Everybody was like, it looked like everybody was helping each other. And it was amazing. And now this, it's like, it's crazy the contrast that's happened just in this year.
Right.
It's wild. Well, we got to stay positive, keep the good energy, and keep it moving. Stick together, help each other out, and, keep it moving. Pull through it.
Well, Estevan, I just want to say thank you. Usually I say 3 things, but I'm going to say one thing right now. Your whole life is a love letter to LA. Your whole life is a love letter to those of us that oftentimes don't feel like we belong. But when we look at your images, we feel a sense of home and like we do belong. And I want to thank your mother, your father, your ancestors, because they gave you that gift that only you could do. No one else in the world could take those photos but you. And you allowed hope, dignity, compassion. And when you were describing what happened after the fires, your portraits are part of that tapestry to allow us to remember our connection. And so just thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being on the show. Whatever we could do to support the love letter to your father, I already got you, whatever we got to do. But just thank you for your life's work and for being who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Sacred Lessons is a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network, Sacred Lessons Media, and the Prince Group. For more of your favorite shows, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.